What's up, everybody? This is Keya from the Wicked Majesty Channel on YouTube, and you are listening to the Devil's Den Podcast, the show that discusses books, poetry, movies, and facts in the genres of horror, paranormal, and true crime genres for folks who love dark, mysterious, and terrifying content. Welcome to tonight's episode of the Devil's Den Podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Keya Reed. I am a dark poetry and horror story writer, content creator, small YouTuber for Wicked Majesty. I am also the podcaster for Tea and Terror Podcast, as well as the Devil's Den Podcast. Tonight, I will take you on a historical journey involving the beginning of what is now called Wicked Majesty. I'm also going to tell you a couple of haunting encounters I have had. It all started in the year 2012. My mother had passed away a few years prior from the battle of cancer. During this time, I was dealing with a lot of issues that was taking its toll on me and affecting my mental health. So I decided to look for something that would help me escape from the pressure and relieve my thoughts from things that were taunting my brain. It was then I started a blog called Wicked Majesty. This was where I would post my poems to express myself, how I was feeling, and connect with other people with similar interests. Later on, I wasn't able to keep my blog's domain name due to financial setbacks, and the company I was going through deleted my blog. But luckily, I was able to continue posting my poetry on the Wicked Majesty Facebook page. Today, my Facebook page has over 1,000 followers, and now I have Wicked Majesty YouTube channel, as well as 2 podcasts that are devoted to dark poetry, horror stories, mystery, conspiracy theories, and creepypasta, and true barbaric crime stories. The Devil's Den Podcast I created to add more interesting discussions and topics I hope you all will enjoy. My first episode will start off the series called Playground of Horrors, which will start on March 19th. I know this isn't really a scary episode, but I wanted to start off with introducing myself and what I have to bring to Lucifer's table. Now, I'm going to tell you about a couple of ghost encounters I've witnessed in my life. The first ghost I have seen was when I was 3 years old. I had an uncle. His name was Michael. He died during Christmas time in a car accident. On the day of his funeral, my parents and I went to my grandparents' house after the service. There were a lot of people standing around, and as young as I was, I didn't know that my uncle had died or even knew anything about death. So there I was, standing next to my dad, and to the left of me, I see my uncle. He told me to be a good girl and take care of my mom, and then he vanished. The next encounter would be deemed more haunting. I was in Ecorse, Michigan, visiting family members on my dad's side. I was 9 at the time, and my dad would often mention that my grandfather haunted my grandmother's house. I never got to actually meet my grandfather because he died a few years before I was born. It was said my grandfather walked with a cane. Don't quite remember why he did. It could have been from when he served in World War II or diabetes. I have no idea. But one night, I was up by myself watching TV in the front room. I was sitting in the big recliner that my grandmother would sit, and all of a sudden the chair pulled back like there was somebody behind me pulling the chair. I looked but didn't see anyone. Then I heard a voice that sounded like a man. At first, I thought one of my cousins were pulling a prank on me, but 2 of them weren't home and everyone else was asleep. Then I heard footsteps and a cane. There wasn't a cane anywhere in the house. No one at the time was walking with a cane either. So I bolted up to the room where I was sleeping at the time and didn't come out till morning. I have more ghost stories to share with you, but for now, I'll save those stories for a special series. Thanks again for listening to the Devil's Den Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Wicked Majesty and on Twitter at Wicked Majesty and also on Facebook, Wicked Majesty. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Sleep tight and don't let the shadows fight.